fitting coil-on-plug ignition on an engine that wasn't designed for coil-on-plug coils. This is the cheapest smart coil-on-plug I could find, and it was 4 for $60 Australian. You can tell it's a smart coil with the igniter built in because it's 3-pin. There's positive, negative and a signal. Plain coils are 2-pin and need an igniter. All you need is a mounting plate in the correct position and holes above the spark plugs. But because the exhaust is so close and the plastic is not designed for that sort of heat, we're going to have to put everything in tubes. We get the inside spacing between spark plugs and add that to the inside diameter of our spark plug holes, and that gives us our centres. Mark out our centres and start drilling. We level up the engine block so that every time we use a level it's 0 degrees. Then get a split ruler and press it to one side of the spark plug hole. Put the level on the other arm of the ruler and open it up until the spirit level is level. This ruler has marks on the arms that you set dividers to. Then transfer the divider distance to the special graduated scale called line of chords. My rough measurement says 41 degrees, but it's probably 45 degrees. You can also just do a protractor. I have to fit a tube inside a tube inside a tube to step down to the correct size. Tack our short adapter ring inside the big tube and size it for the small tube. Attach our large stubs to our plate. I added this flange to increase the second moment of inertia so it wouldn't bend as much. It's set to the angle of the spark plug so it'll look neat when it's fitted. You can't weld stuff without distortion, so you have to straighten it. I only use a few tack welds, but it distorts a lot because it's quite thin. We have to bevel the inside of our short tubes because it's quite a tight fit on the coil-on plug. Next I need a spacer under my bolt hole because it's stepped and not flat on the bottom. I made spacers with the correct thickness plate and a hole saw. Line up the spacer hole with the coil-on plug bolt hole. Remove the COP, clamp the spacer down and tack weld it. Now it's a matter of tapping it for the bolt. The easiest way to tap it is to do it by hand in a drill press. A drill press keeps it square to the job. Turn it by hand until you feel it's too tight and then reverse it to break the swarf off. With a new sharp tap you might be able to go all the way on the drill press, but my tap is so blunt I'm only going to start it in the drill press. Then finish it off with a tap wrench in a vise. You have to have a feel for tapping wrenches because extra lever length can break taps. So turn it until it feels a bit tight and then reverse it until it snaps the shavings off. If you line things up right at the start, the bolt should go straight in. We check our angle and set it to 45 degrees. The best we can do is line it up to a surface that looks like it's accurate. If the gap looks similar from this side to this side, that's going to be good enough. From the top down, the gap on the left looks slightly bigger than the gap on the right, so we'll have to adjust that before we tack it. Some brackets. We have to check our distances. So from under the coil-on plug to the shoulder of the spark plug, it's 131 mm. It'll need a slight adjust down because it's 132 mm. If I had a lathe, I'd machine locating tubes, but a pipe slipped over the spark plug and wobbled side to side is going to be good enough. Press it up and it looks like 4 mm to the edge of the hole. Press it down, looks like about 8 mm, so it needs to move up 2 mm. It looks closer on the left than the right, so the plate has to move left. Since it was only tacked, I just whacked it with a hammer to the left until the X lined up. Then I cut the tacks of the bracket on one end and moved it up and in and then tacked it again. Then did the same thing to the other side, making the holes in the plate align with the spark plugs. Then it's put our tubes in. Then tack them up. Weld up the brackets and add a few more tacks to the tubes. I'm going to leave the tubes only tacked because full welding will distort it too much. The COP seems to fit fine. I'm going to have to put a lot of insulation between the coil-on plugs and the exhaust because I don't think the plastic of the COPs are rated for that sort of temperature.